Hey everyone, it's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, and I wanted to show you how to make this very simple little treat bag. Actually, you can put a gift card in it. It's a good size for that, maybe some chocolates and a gift card to give to a guy or a girl. But I think it's a little bit more masculine, and sometimes we don't have a lot of masculine projects, so I thought this was great. So anyway, I'm using the Beauty of Earth Designer Series paper, or Beauty of the Earth, and I have a piece that's cut 9 inches by 5.5. So you can get 2 of these out of the one of the sheets of the 12 by 12 papers. So let me just put these aside, and I'll take out my trimmer. So we are going to do some scoring, and we need to have our arm out a little bit. And let's just make sure we're in here. I'm trying to look over the camera. So we are going to make sure we have our cutting blade up here and use our scoring blade. So we're going to score at the bottom 1 inch. So this will give us our bottom. So make sure you're scoring it so that it's facing this way. So, and even when you cut, make sure your 9 inches is across. And I always have to think and picture it, especially with something like this. You just want it to go in the right way. So double check it. So the bottom is 1 inch. So we'll just score that. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score at the 3 inches. And I know people make these things all the time. I don't, so I play with scrap paper. I'm not a big 3D person, so I'm more into cards, but I figured I'd give this a whirl. So we're going to do 4 inches, so 3 inches, and then 4 inches, and then 7 inches. So I have a 3-inch front and a back and 1 inch on the side. So that's how I kind of did my math, and then 8 inches. And then we're done with this. So let's put this away. And then I want to just really burnish everything. Easier to see it from the back sometimes. So we'll just kind of go over everything, all the score lines, burnish them all so that it folds nice and everything lays nice. Very easy to do. You can do a fancy topper if you wanted. I just figured I would leave it kind of plain. I was actually thinking of making this for my son, or I should have thought of making it for my son. He loves hiking, and this kind of reminded me of him when I was making it. He just did part of the Appalachian Trail up in New York. He got rained out, but he did a couple of days under his belt, so I figure he could just go back and start from where he left off. So now we're going to, and you could do it from the back if it's easier to see, but we're going to just cut off this first square. And this is pretty standard box and bag steps, so many of you might just be familiar with that. So now we have, this is our tab for closing. So I'm just going to kind of angle that. No big way of doing it. And then we're just going up to the score line. And I'm going to just cut off a little bit on the corner just of these tabs. I'm not doing it on every piece. I think some people do that. But just so it folds nicely. And then we have the long piece, and then we have another one here, another tab. We'll just cut up here. I love this paper. I think it's really pretty. And then I use the Campology Stamp Set to go with it, which has some great kind of camping and hiking kinds of things. And then let me just do this last one. Very easy to put together, nothing too hard or fancy or anything like that. We do plain for guys, right? So let's just push that aside, and now we have the makings of our little treat box. So it'll go like this. So I'm going to use some liquid glue. You can use tear and tape. You can use the Stamp and Seal. And I'm just putting it on this tab. And we'll just close this over. And make sure it's lined up, and the liquid glue just gives you that little bit to make sure everything's lined up. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the tabs, just a little bit. And which way do I want it? I want this to be my back, so I'm going to put this down, and then we'll put a little bit of glue on here, or tear and tape, or whatever you want. See, this lets you put it down and kind of get it all straight. So it gives you that couple of seconds to just get it all lined up. And I'm just going to take my bone folder and just push down on it. Okay, so we're done with that part of it. And I'm just going to let that set for a minute, and we'll do our stamping. So I'm using, again, the Campology set, and I use the Happy Trails and just the tops of these trees. So I just stamped the top, and then I moved it over and stamped the top over here. But this time I want to use the tent. So I thought that would be another good alternative for Happy Trails. So this would be great for somebody who's going on vacation, going hiking, going out west, you know, going to the mountains, camping, that kind of thing. So I thought, you know, if you gave somebody a birthday gift card or a graduation gift card with maybe some candy, somebody who's doing some kind of an adventure, I thought this was a good stamp set to use. So that is Mossy Meadow, and that's what the paper is. And then I have the Happy Trails in the Bumblebee, because there is a little bit of yellow in there. So I figured that would go with it, and it would kind of pop a little bit. So we're just going to put it up here this time, because there's more room with the way the tent is laid out. Okay, and let's just put this together. Very simple, right? Not much to it. You could get a fancy label on this, you know, a circle with a layering circle in the back, you know, a scallop circle or some kind of a label tag, but I'm just keeping it straight. So this is, I think, 1.5 by 2. I will have the dimensions on my blog, pspapercrafts.com, and you can purchase products there if you want to make something like this. So let me just check. Yeah, so the white is 1.5 by 2, and then the green is 1 5/8 by 2 1/8. So just went up a little bit. Okay, so that's that. So now I'm just gonna kind of push these in. I'm not really folding it, I just want to push them in, and then I'm using a hole punch. So let's see, I want to use this one. So I'm just going to put a hole in the top. There's so many different holes here. I don't use this very often, so I don't want to go too far down because I want the gift card to fit in it. And we'll just punch a hole in it. And then I'm using this ribbon. It's the it's got gold in it. What is it called? Look at the fine art ribbon. So it's really pretty. It's kind of a natural look, but it has gold flecks in it. So it's very pretty. So let's just put that through. So this would be easy to open. Get the ribbon through. And I'll just kind of judge it here. Get my ribbon scissors. And just do it on an angle like this. And then I took a piece of the linen thread and I just tied that around. So you would put your little goodies in there, put your gift card, your chocolate, maybe a map. Do people use maps anymore? I don't think so. I think we've lost the art of map reading, and I always loved reading maps. We always drove from New York to Florida when my parents lived down here. And it was just nice to see, this was before GPS, nice to see the towns you're passing by, you know, how much further you have. So I always enjoyed a map, and I feel like, I don't know if people are going to know how to read a map anymore. It's kind of a shame, but progress, I guess. So you could just fix your bow if it needs fixing. So let's see. But I guess when you're on a trail, you could follow a trail map where they always have signs as well. I guess unless you're off the real beaten path. So then I'll just put some dimensionals on the back of this and we're done. A very simple. You can change up the paper. You can make it feminine. You can make it for kids. You could do Christmas. I mean, this would be a very easy thing to make. You could even do little place settings for a table if you had, you know, some kind of a party and you wanted to just put a little piece of chocolate in it or something like that, something special. So there's lots you can do, and I think it's pretty easy to make. And you don't need a lot of tools, just a pretty paper and some nice ribbon. So there you have it. I think they came out great. Thanks for joining. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Thank you. Bye.